Hi everyone. So in this video, we'll talk about Docker CLI and we'll try to run few commands and see how Docker CLI we can interact with Docker CLI. So in the previous video, we discussed about what exactly is Docker and why was Docker needed, and we also uh, saw the difference between Docker image and Docker container, and we then installed the Docker on our machine. So as a prerequisite for this video, I'm assuming that we have our Docker installed on our local machine. So the agenda for this video is we'll be using Docker CLI. So I'm using a Windows machine where I'll be using PowerShell to run Docker command. We'll see how we can create and run a container. We'll also verify, we'll be running few simple commands like listing all the containers, how we stop or kill a container. We'll also see uh, to view the logs of any particular container. And at the end, we'll try to go inside a container and try to run few commands, like how those works. So let's begin. So creating and running a container from an image. So this command is used for create a container if you have a image. So we'll be using any existing image which is in Docker Hub. So we'll be running Docker run, then image name, and we can put any command also. Any if you want to do any other stuff apart from running the container, then you can this command to override anything, right? So let us begin. So basically, the first thing is to verify if we have a local Docker running up and running. So this is the Docker icon, and you can see the Docker is running successfully. And if you right click on this, you will see that there are several options to pause the Docker, desktop, quit, restart, etc. And if you go to the setting, also you'll see various options available, right? So which means our Docker desktop is up and running. Now let's open PowerShell. So if you are using any Mac machine or something, then you'll have to perform different steps, right? So, and make sure while opening the PowerShell, use it run is at administrator, because running Docker commands need admin privileges. So this is the PowerShell, right? Now, the first step should be after you have downloaded Docker is to run Docker hello command. So let's see Docker run hello world. So if Docker is installed successfully, this should print out some message hello from Docker, something like that, right? So let's wait for some time. And this is the step that like happening behind the scenes. So first it tried to get the hello world image locally. Then if it couldn't find the image locally, then it goes to Docker Hub, and now it is pulling the images, right? So downloaded new image for this, and you can see this message Docker hello from Docker. This message shows that your installation appears to be working correctly. So this is what we wanted, and you can like read this also, like to generate this message. Docker took the following steps. Docker client contacted with Docker daemon. Docker daemon pulled the Docker world image from Docker Hub, and Docker daemon created a new container from that image, which runs the executable that produces the output you are currently reading. So it's talking about this output. So if we do Docker ps now to list out all the containers, all the processes, you can see there is no running container. But we run this image. So why this is happening? Because this image is not currently running, and it if you say dash a, which is means all, so you can see this hello world that we currently executed. So this container was running, executed, and successfully exited also after printing this hello from Docker message, right? So this is the main job of this image only, right? So now suppose uh, you want to run a container. So let's try to run a different container like nginx. So let's run that. Docker run nginx, right? So it will again perform same steps. It will try to find this image locally. Unable to, it says I'm unable to find the image locally, then it will go to Docker Hub and try to fetch the latest nginx image available. So it will take some time. So let's wait for it. Because Docker is very important, because this containerization and other things are quite interesting, because they have saved a lot of time in developer day-to-day life. Earlier, like when we used to program, so deployment and testing our changes was used to be a very big task. But now, since we have a Docker and Docker desktop thing, so it is very easy to, like, what you call, test your changes, right? So okay, so as you can see, like this nginx is up and running. I think these are the logs that is showing. So if we open a new PowerShell, let's open a new PowerShell and try to list out that top Docker PS command. And this is the new PowerShell that we opened. If I do Docker PS, we should be seeing this. Yeah, you can see earlier this image was not available, and you can see that this image was created 28 seconds ago, right? So what does this mean? This means we have a container called nginx in our local desktop, and this container is running for that, right? Look how easy it is to install nginx. And if you install nginx on your desktop without using Docker, it's a very cumbersome process. It will take a lot of time, and it will like you'll be uh, um, like wasting your time in these non-productive stuff. So Docker simplifies this process. Like to install anything and you want to use it, then you just have to run few commands, right? So now we have successfully run uh, this command, and were able to create a container, right? So what exactly Docker run command does? So Docker run command is a combination of two different commands, Docker create and Docker start. So Docker, whenever we say Docker run, it first um, run the command Docker create and then Docker start, as we can see in the case of nginx that we installed. So Docker PS is a command which is used to list all the running containers. And if you want to view all the containers, then we'll have to use Docker PS dash A. Then it will list out all the containers that are available on your Docker desktop. Now, next command that we'll be executing is Docker log. Docker, like checking the logs is an integral part of developer's life. So we can also check the logs of any Docker container that is running. So let's see Docker log -f. So we can try watching the logs of this nginx. So you can see these are the nginx logs. So this command is very handy in case of any debugging and all. Now we can stop a container as well. Like there are two commands available: Docker stop, then you use container ID, and there is another command called kill a container, Docker kill container. So these two commands, like they are like same, but Docker stop will gracefully stop your container, but Docker kill command will abruptly kill your container, and there are chances of data loss and etc. So it is advisable to use Docker stop command always. So let's like use this command to stop this container. Okay. So these are Docker PS, then we'll do Docker stop, and then the container ID. Yeah, as you can see, the container like has stopped, And you can also, I guess, Docker start the same container as well. Let me try starting it. And now let's do Docker PS. Yeah. So this container is started again, right? So this is how Docker stop command works. And another command which is a very useful command is execute command. So execute command is used to go inside the container, running container. So suppose we want to execute some command inside this running container. So Docker exec command, Docker exec dash it container ID, then any shell command. So this is the command used to uh, like go inside the running container. So this IT, like it provide an allow us to provide input to the container. Like we can uh, execute different command that will execute the nginx container specifically, right? So let's try running this command, docker exec dash it, then what we do, container ID. Since we are using PowerShell, then we can use as such. Yeah. So now you can see this, you are inside the, what you call this, nginx container. So if you do pwd, then you are currently in the root directory. And if you do ls, so you can see this is the all the directories available in nginx container, right? So I think yeah, you can like use any command processor based on your laptop or anything. So since we are using PowerShell, we use this sh command for that, right? So guys, this is all I had like in the Docker CLI. We learned about like how we can create and run a container. How these are the very useful command that you will be using in your daily life, and they are very useful. And if you have come to this point, then I think you should spend some more time in executing like basic command. Then after some time, you will gain more and more experience in Docker. So guys, that's all I had in this video. Thanks a lot. Thank you.